going to quickly invite Dr. Professor Regunath Parakkal from India to address us this morning. Over to you, sir.
Yes, Elizabeth sister, after a long time, a little bit of gap is there. No, I'm traveling around, and you know that my little bit of health issues are
Yes,
creating some programs. I am
yes, we
really thankful to
understand,
Dr.
sir.
DK, sir.
And how are
Thank
you
you.
coping with your health, sir? How are you
Now it's
coping?
okay. I started
Okay.
traveling again, okay, and
Okay.
started
Oh,
class
good.
again,
Oh,
okay,
good.
because I have got little bit of breathing issues. That is the main problem. TP sir, I heard that you came to Kerala, right? I couldn't come there and attend. I got the information. The Elizabeth sister, he came all the way to Kerala to take some classes. I saw one of his posts.
Oh,
And my dear friends all over the world, I can see the favored evergreen ma'am, Lucas, and all other peoples all over the world. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. I will, take over where Queen Elizabeth sister, stopped. See, she was talking about the change. In fact, I came with the talking about the subject of the communication and relationship. Definitely, after touching the main points where the Queen Elizabeth sister talked, where I will continue. I think, sister, you were talking about the change. If you want to talk about the change in, the youngsters, first of all, we should see that their mindset is perfect, as you rightly pointed out, and they should be teachable. Am I right? TPS, they should be teachable. Their mindset should be teachable. Then only we can expect the changes. As far as the learning, process is concerned, we used to say, learn, learn, learn. Continuous learning process for a change. Then I think TPSR will agree with my concern point. The people are not prepared for unlearning. That's the main issue. After learning, they are not prepared for substituting certain things or unlearning, so they are not able to get the real learning. TPSR, you will agree, no? Especially the people from our state, they are not prepared for unlearning. See, after some particular point, they are not prepared for, unlearning things. So they are not really able to learn the new things. So unlearning is always important. Then, of course, the relearning. Okay, learning or the unlearning, then the relearning. The learning process really starts then only, in fact. The process of learning means unlearning and the relearning is always there. And of course, TPSR, in our age, we can add one thing is not learning, it is also returning. We people are doing the same thing. Am I right? Every day, whatever we gather, we are trying to return to the society. So we should see that Elizabeth sister, the people or the youngsters are really teachable and their mindset should be perfectly okay. So, in order to, talk about the relationship, I just want to tell you one interesting thing. The people, if you don't want to continue a relationship, just cut down the communication. So, communication is always important in maintaining a relationship. If you don't want to continue the relationship, cut down the communication. See, communication really, enhances one interesting point that is about the perfect communication comes from a perfect man or a good personality or who is having a good emotional quotient. Perfect communication always comes from a good personality or a person who is having good emotional quotient. In order to develop a good emotional quotient or a good personality, two things are always important, right? Elizabeth sister, I am talking about certain concepts from the CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy. Actually, I do practice a lot of cognitive behavior therapy in my day-to-day activities. There, we will talk about certain beliefs. If a pyramid is drawn, okay, the pyramid at the end of the pyramid or the top of the pyramid, certain people will be always having automatic negative thoughts. That means, as a man from USA talked or communicated, they are not comfortable with themselves. They don't love themselves. This automatic negative thoughts are coming from two basic concepts. It is called attitude and ego. Elizabeth's sister used to say always about the mindset, but we always use instead of the mindset the attitude. So the automatic negative thoughts, if the person is negative person, always the automatic negative thoughts will be there. It is based on his attitude. That's why the attitude should be positive one, so that the automatic negative thoughts will not be there. So he is comfortable with himself and his communication is also perfect. So A and T are the positive communication or the positive vibration is really coming from the middle portion. That is actually the, I mean, the process of really the rather emotional quotient development, which I want to talk about. It is based on the attitude as well as the ego. But this attitude and ego is really coming from the core beliefs. Actually, TB sir will agree the core beliefs are coming from the adolescent days and the youth days and the various experience he is facing inside the family and outside the family, or rather exposed to the society. So, to be very frankly telling you, the core beliefs are to be perfect in order to develop a very positive attitude and a very positive ego so that we can avoid the automatic negative thoughts or so that he will be comfortable with himself. Elizabeth sister, we used to say one interesting thing. We used to discuss all these things. I am okay, but TPSR is not okay. I am okay. This concept you might have heard about that you are not okay. That means this person is not prepared to accept him, or this person is having the ego concept. I am not okay, you are not okay. Then there's a big issue that some people will think I am not okay, whereas you are okay. That means there is also proper communication, or he is underestimating himself. I think the third one is most problematic inside the society. TPSR, you will agree. I am not okay and you are not okay. Those people are really creating the issues. But we should see that the fourth one is always important. I am okay and you are okay. So, Elizabeth sister, in your words, you will call this as win-win situation. Agreed? Win-win situation always can develop when you have a concept of developing I am okay and you are okay. The people who are having the fourth concept or I am okay or you are okay is having more positive emotional quotient, and they are comfortable with others and their interpersonal relationship and communication is perfectly okay. And they are also found out they are listenable, they are teachable. I think Dr. TPS is considered to be a good teacher because of one interesting factor I want to tell you. He was a listener earlier. We people are really the teachers or the professors because of only one particular reason. When our professors were talking, when some, I mean, person who is having a good knowledge, we used to listen to them. Always listeners are going to be the good teachers, especially the listeners during the adolescent days or the young days. But the problem with the youngsters, it is found out that they are not really teachable because their listening is not perfect. so that we are not able to change their mindset. That's why I told you the important concept, especially in the case of cognitive behavioral therapy, we use to say it is coming from the core beliefs, right? Exposure to the society, exposure to the education, exposure to the family, and that is really developing the attitude and ego that will give you the top of the pyramid. That is nothing but it may be an automatic negative thoughts. That means they are not comfortable with themselves, but we should see that if they want to be comfortable, their attitude and ego should be very positive so that the automatic positive vibration they can spread all over the world and to the society and the family members also. So, in the case of relationship, as I told you, communication is always important, especially the positive vibration communication. When we talk about the communication, we used to say 2 hours. 2 hours means 1 hour represents once we give certain things to, I mean, other person. If the person is R taking the R, the first R, reacting means automatically the communication is switched or stopped. But when the communication is done, the other person is responding means that is the second R. Of course, the communication will develop. So that 2 hours are always going to be very important. And in the case of building a relationship with a very positive communication, the most important thing is nothing but how you are using your body language. That is always important. Elizabeth sister, now your smile is not coming. I'm talking about the body language. TPA sir, I think now she started smiling. So that is also important. See, this is a communication. When she is smiling, she is also requesting other person to smile. We are compelled to smile back. It is a infectious disease. So from England, she is transmitting an infectious disease to the all over the world, so that we also people are also started smiling. See, I used to say one interesting thing. If you are making a smile, there will be curve in your lips. This curve is going to solve so many curves in your life. So the body language is always important. As far as the communication is concerned, I think 60 to 75% of your communication is coming not by oral words, but through the body language. But most of the people are not taking care of the body language itself. So the communication, other people are just observing that the communication is not perfect, or rather the person is reacting. We used to say, see, whenever we teach the communication classes, especially with the MBA student, one interesting concept. The problems are not really the problem. Sister, you will agree. The problems are not really the problem. Problems are really the problem. The way the problems are communicated, the way the problems are communicated, of course, sometimes if it is communicated in a bad way, with a bad body language, with harsh words, definitely it is going to create more issues than the problem. The way you are communicating is always important. Even if you are making mistake with a smile when we are communicating, definitely the reaction will become a response from the listener. Reaction will become a rather response, even if you are communicating a mistake. But when you are using the body language and when you are using the communication in a perfect way or in a sweet way, that will be very perfect. Most of the problems are coming especially from the tone of the voice. And second one is the about misusing, totally the body language, or the body language can be used in a very positive way so that people can really, really love you. Now I can see Febward Evergreen ma'am nodding, nodding, nodding. That is also a very positive, response, so that I want to communicate more. Now, once I started, noticing her, noting Elizabeth sister, I started, smiling and communicating more. This is the way to build a relation. And Elizabeth sister, whenever you notice that once you are listening perfectly, another interesting thing you can observe. See, you can now observe that whether you are, watching your own image of Elizabeth sister, I don't know, because now you are tilting your head. Your head is little bit tilted. See the head of see our
I'm
TPS.
with you.
It is
I'm with you.
tilted
I'm
towards
just
the right side.
adjusting myself.
Our agreed, agreed. That shows the listening ability. See the I don't know what is his name. See good person's name. Techno Beast G6.
Yeah,
He is
Pastor
also using the
Awodiro.
mobile. His
Yeah.
head is twisted towards the right side. That means he is listening, but now he is started smiling and right. And see the our Dr. Evergreen's head is also twisted towards the left side. When you are taking a class, one thing I want to tell you, if any person or the majority of the students head is straight, that means your communication, they are not absorbed. It is totally boring. Got the point, Elizabeth sister? As I see, communication professor, I want to communicate this interesting aspects. When you are communicating to a major audience, if the people's head is straight, that means your subject is not absorbed by them and they are not prepared for the listening. Got the point? They are sitting with a preconceived notion. In your Elizabeth says in your word, their mindset is not perfect. Then there is no question of entering into the ears and entering into the brain and no process of thinking there. So that's why I told you, yes, of course, the way you are communicating is more important, especially in the case of the problems. That's why I want to repeat the wording. The problems are really the problem when you are not communicating properly. How you are going to communicate is going to give the problem more problems or less problem. That's why I told if you are making a smile, making a curve in the lips and talking to somebody else, that can avoid so many curves in your life. Anyway, uh, another thing, Elizabeth sister, I think to talk, a baby takes almost 4 years, agreed?
Yes.
Okay. But another thing, I think you can ask this question to TPS, sir. In order to keep silence, no, we may take 40 years to study the silence in the communication. Agreed, sister? See,
Yes.
most of the people, they will talk, but they are not prepared for
Listening.
listening and they don't know when to keep the silence. That is more important in the case of development of communication. When to keep the silence. When you are keeping the silence in the proper time, definitely you are going to avoid so many problems in the
Mhm.
life.
Excuse me.
Yes, sister, you want to add something? Anyway, these are all the things which I want to talk about. See the relationship with the communication. I am really sorry to TPS, sir. I think I have taken your time, sir, but I have to go back to the hospital. Okay, TPS, sir, definitely. Thank you once again. And Evergreen, ma'am, we will meet in some other, platform. And of course, I can see Isaac Christian, sir, and the gentleman who is using the techno, G6, I don't know his name. And I am also not observing our Elizabeth sister. I once again thankful to the Elizabeth sister for inviting this and for, she really thankful to her and her organization for giving such a kind of opportunity and definitely We will meet again. Thank you, my dear friends. Thank you, Elizabeth sister, and thank you, TPS sir.
All right.
TPS
Thank you.
sir, yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much, sir. We really appreciate you, Professor Parakkal. You are highly welcome, sir. Thanks for that word. Okay. Uh, Professor is back now. I think he will take
Yeah.
off from me now.
Thank you so much, Ambassador Lucas. Yes, I just have to quickly drink some water. We have to take care of our health while we are still doing the program and sitting down in front of this box. So I want to say thank you so much, Sir Professor Dr. Regunath Parakkal from India. We really appreciate your words of wisdom and knowledge that you have shared with us this morning. And yes, I'm still working on this communication. And most of the things that you've said today, some of them are still new to me. So I'm going to make sure that I apply it as well to my communication and also to share it with others, because it's very important the way you the way you present your thoughts, your knowledge matters. And sometimes we can also be questioning ourselves now when we see that we speak something and it doesn't looks like the person we are communicating with got the message, and that is why we have to work on how do we present, how do we communicate our thoughts, our vision, our dreams? How do we communicate with our spouse, our children, for them to be inspired to listen to us and also to understand what we are being portrayed to them? So I want to say thank you so much, Professor Dr. Regunath Parakkal. We really appreciate you, sir. Thank you for